Welcome back to Clean Skies Sunday. You saw the issue of energy move to the forefront of the presidential campaign last summer, and now we are tracking more statewide elections where candidates are putting a premium on energy and environmental policy. Clean Skies' Tyler Souters is here now with a closer look. Good morning, Tyler.
Susan, good morning to you as well. Both presidential candidates, as you'll remember, unveiled their energy and environment policies about 4 months before the general election took place. But in Virginia right now, there is one gubernatorial candidate who released his energy policy plan 4 months before the primary election is scheduled and 9 months before the general itself. So I sat down with Democratic candidate Brian Moran to discuss why more local candidates are now painting themselves green. Brian Moran, thank you for taking time off the campaign trail to join us this morning.
It's great to be with you this morning. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about my green energy plan for Virginia.
I want to talk to you about the big picture here regarding your energy plan and where you stand in the political field. I saw an interesting quote from a Virginia political analyst, Robert Holsworth. This comes from the Washington Post, saying Brian Moran is the greenest of them all among the Democrats. He also says he's trying to position himself as the grassroots progressive alternative to the big money status quo guy. Is being green, is being energy efficient a political position now?
Well, I think it's a positive political position. I think this is extremely important for the future of Virginia, the future of our country. You see President Barack Obama talking about energy. I mean, everything he talked about included energy. I mean, the connection of energy, the environment, and our economy has never been so profound. We can strengthen and rebuild our economy by producing renewable energy, clean, investing in wind and solar and renewable portfolio standards. And in addition to that, we can save energy and reduce our dangerous dependence on foreign oil by being more efficient with the energy we currently use. So I think it's I'm very comfortable in that position. I want to be. If people label me the greenest candidate, I'm happy to be there. I think it's right for the future of Virginia.
It seems like a number of candidates are riding on the idea of a renewable portfolio standard, which the Obama administration has been very vocal about. In your RPS, you're talking about a commitment to get 25% of Virginia's electricity from renewable resources by 2025. Steep goal considering that, according to the EIA in 2006, renewable electricity generation in Virginia was just a little bit more than 5%. Mm-hmm. How can you get so far so fast?
Well, by 2025, frankly, the cost of not doing it is too high. We can now generate wind power off the coast of Virginia that would generate about 20% of our electricity. That's where our focus needs to be. We need to invest in the technology so that we can store and harness the energy that's created by wind and solar and biomass, in addition to taking the leadership. And that's what the governor does. You have to have the bully pulpit and advocacy in this area, and it'll create jobs in research. Mm-hmm. It'll also create jobs in retrofitting. I mean, we can be more energy efficient by retrofitting, weatherization. These are steps that are necessary at this point.
The Virginia governor is, by nature, a member of the Southern Governors Association, and there's a problem arising in Virginia that a number of other governors in that association face. That is the continued reliance on coal-fired electricity generation. Mm-hmm. In particular, in Virginia, you're facing the idea of a Surry County plant, a brand new plant in Southern Virginia, one that you are very vehemently opposing right now.
Right. It's an enormous plant, 1,500 megawatts. It is 3 times the size of the Wise County power plant that is being constructed in southwest Virginia. Surry poses a number of problems. First of which, it's within 50 miles, or approximately 50 miles from Richmond and Hampton Roads, and equidistance between 2 large population centers. It's also within the Chesapeake Bay watershed. We're currently spending hundreds of millions trying to clean up the Chesapeake Bay, and we're failing. Introducing additional nitrogen into the Chesapeake Bay does not help our efforts to clean up the Chesapeake Bay. It would also produce tons of pollution, air pollution in that area. So those are 2 non-attainment areas, by the way. Mm-hmm. So for a number of reasons, Surry causes problems. It's also a distraction. I want Virginia to be a leader in renewable sources of energy, clean sources of energy, like wind, solar, biomass. If we continue to build large coal-fired power plants, that distracts us from where we should go. And that's why 25% mandatory, I think, is achievable if we don't take the eye off the ball. Let's get serious about investing in research to be able to harness the energy produced by wind and solar and biomass and become more energy efficient.
Another issue that is facing governors and lawmakers along coastal states arose during the presidential election campaign this past year, and that is the offshore drilling moratorium, which is now expired. President Obama has no inclination, apparently, to re-sign the executive order to reinstate that moratorium. And you're opposed to it as well in terms of any exploration. You don't want anything taking place offshore despite the reserves out there of natural gas and oil.
Well, natural gas does not emit as much CO2 as oil, of course. The difficulty is that off our coast in Virginia, we have an enormous tourism industry in Virginia Beach. It's a billion-dollar tourism industry. Also, we have Navy operations off the coast of Virginia. 3/4 of the drilling area that is proposed would be within the naval operations, where they trained. So there's a national defense issue, as well as some practical logistical problems with drilling off our coast. Again, I think 19th century fossil fuel and oil is not the solution to solve our 21st century problems. We must invest in wind and solar and clean sources of energy and develop a clean energy system.
Virginia Governor Tim Kaine has talked about a different offshore resource. That is wind.
Absolutely.
Especially that's something we've heard Deval Patrick in Massachusetts talk about, John Corzine in New Jersey, up and down the East Coast. Governors are talking about the potential that's there, but the fact remains there is not a single U.S. offshore wind farm operational today.
Yeah. Well, we've just had 8 years of an administration that did not accept global warming. So it's time now to get serious about investing in wind, and it will require research and development so that we can implement and develop and deploy wind farms off our coast. We now have leadership in the White House, and we need leadership in the governor's office. I want to provide that leadership in the Virginia governor's office so that we can deploy wind off our coast. It'll be a clean source, it'll address global warming, and it will provide sufficient electricity to keep our economy humming.
Now, among the specific tenets of Moran's Green Virginia plan, pushing alternative fuels, establishing a renewable portfolio standard, and also creating so-called green jobs. And Susan, these may sound familiar because they are all issues President Obama highlighted during his candidacy, and these are all issues that are now part of the White House energy agenda.
Absolutely. All right, Tyler Suiters, thanks for that.